I wish I had never made those illegal pornos. Has anyone ever heard of honeymoon videos? I didn't even know what they were until the summer of 2017, when my friend Vic called me up and asked if I wanted to make some money working on low-budget movies. I was trying to save up enough to go back to school and complete my half-finished video production degree. Short version, I was struggling. Seriously, administrative work, freelance bookkeeping, bartending, I did anything. So when Vic floated an absurdly large number in exchange for help, in the thousands, I bit. What kind? Local business commercials? Film student semester projects or something? Nah dude. Porn. Ever heard of honeymoon videos? Nope. It's easy. We get a hotel room, bug another room with cameras, and we wait for people to fuck. I waited, just to be a dick. Silence filled the line. Then, pointedly emphasizing each sentence, Vic droned, then we film them fucking. Then we sell the film of them fucking to a guy I know. Then we get money. Vic, that's a fucking crime. Only if you get caught. I didn't say anything. Come on, man. Last week you were begging me for work. I know your situation. You just need some cash to get it all started. I said no. It seemed risky, stupid, and morally reprehensible, at best. But I'd known Vic for over a decade, and even in the grip of puberty, I'd never known him to be reckless. Even when he was slinging weed in high school, he was careful, recommendations only, never did business in or near his house. An asshole, sure, but a cautious asshole. He wore me down over the next couple of days, trying to address all my concerns. He worked at the downtown Marriott and already had things ready to go. He had a guy quit without notice, and needed a fast replacement. He'd done it before and knew how to avoid getting caught. He only worked with people he trusted. The videos were only sold to a handful of strictly vetted private buyers. Voyeurs went wild for this shit, and they paid through the nose for the genuine stuff. The only downside was that it was time-consuming. He just needed somebody to watch the cameras full-time in case something went wrong. It was easy money. And I wanted to go back to school and have a real career. I didn't want to spend my life jumping from job to job with no stability, security, or health insurance. I just needed some cash to get it all started. So that's how, in the winter of 2017, I found myself in a room, in a depressing, near-empty hotel, staring at a bunch of monitors. By this time, I had done a couple other sessions with Vic and his people. But this time, this couple, would be my last time. In the 100-odd hours I'd clocked spying on people, I'd seen a weird thing or two. But these two in particular made me uneasy. For one, there was a startling age difference. The girl, petite and dark-haired, looked really, really young, while the guy looked like he could have been in his 40s or 50s. In plain black pants and a collared shirt, he wasn't flashy or attractive enough to make me think he had trophy wife money. But he did look like he could afford to dabble with sex workers, and our city was a notorious hub for sex trafficking. There was also the fact that they weren't really acting like a couple. The girl trailed behind the guy as they entered the room, arms crossed, hugging her coat to herself. I texted Vic. What the fuck, man? Are you positive this isn't a father-daughter? A few seconds later, my phone buzzed. I mean, I don't know that many daughters that kiss their fathers on the mouth. Mouth twisting down into a grimace, I returned to my surveillance. She just seemed, so small and frail, like a little bird. I sat with my eyes glued to the monitor. I'll admit that the previous times, part of me enjoyed watching, but that night, I had a bad taste in my mouth. I watched them get settled. And, for over an hour, they didn't do anything. She curled up in an armchair and played on her phone. He went into the bathroom, presumably to shower. He came back out in a bathrobe. She moved to the bed and turned on the TV. I got bored and did the same. I was startled out of my blue light reverie by a thump from next door. I scrambled off the bed to go check the feed. The guy was on the carpet scrambling away from the girl, his robe spotted with blood. He held up one shaking hand, as if pleading. I noticed the hand was missing some fingers. The rail-thin girl was stalking him slowly, her hands and face scarlet. What the fuck? I whispered to myself, unable to tear my eyes away. I let out a half shriek and clapped my hands over my mouth when the girl streaked towards him like a bullet. He tried to scream, I even heard the muffled cry through the wall, but she tackled him to the ground, straddled him and jammed her fist into his mouth. The scream turned to gurgling and he rolled onto his belly, howling and spewing blood all over the carpet. She brought something to her mouth. My stomach lurched when it registered, she was eating his tongue. She buried her face into his throat, and through the grainy image I saw dark, thick liquid spray into the surrounding carpet. Her face moved up and down against his. Small red squirts bubbled up and splashed against her cheeks. A dark pool started to spread underneath the man. He flailed and grabbed, but wounded and positioned on his belly like that, he wasn't much use against her. She kept one hand on the crown of his head, pushing his face into the carpet, muting his wails. Almost methodically, she continued to gnaw on his neck. I continued to watch, frozen in shock. I realized that I was clutching my face, a la Edward Munch's The Scream. Quiet overtook the room, the soft, insulated kind of silence that you normally only hear in doctors' offices or tenantless business suites. Corporate silence. My phone sat on the table, maddening in its implication. I stared around the room helplessly, wishing somebody was there with me, if for no other reason, to corroborate what I was seeing. The silence was broken by a crack, then a sickening squelch, as the girl pulled the man's head free from his neck. Tissue hung down from his ragged stump like macabre party decorations. The girl fell back to sitting and held her prize up in the air, letting the blood patter down on her face. Her expression became serene, like she was enjoying a springtime rain. Her tongue darted out and licked away some of the scarlet. Then my phone buzzed. It was Vic. LOL, what's going on up there? 2 noise complaints already. Damn. I stared at the phone for a full minute, completely at a loss for what to do. Then, I picked it up and typed as fast as I could, "Call the police. Do not go to the room." Finally motivated to move, I got up to grab my bag and get the hell out. But when I saw movement on the computer screen, I stopped. The camera feed showed the girl had moved away from the body. She walked to the opposite wall, the one my room shared with hers. She turned her head to stare directly into the camera. Lifting a bloody fist, she knocked softly. Needless to say, I didn't stay in that room. I didn't break down the computers or do anything with the recordings or tell Vic where I was going. I just grabbed my shit and got the fuck out of that hotel. I went home and packed. Anything that didn't fit in my Mazda got left behind. I drove for 2 days, sleeping in my car, until I got to my hometown. My parents were surprised to see me, but they accepted my pathetic story about a bad breakup leading me to up and leave. It's been okay here, so far. Like my old life, I picked up a couple part-time gigs that keep me afloat. I was going to look for full-time work until last week. Now I don't know if there's any point. After my Friday night dishwashing shift was over, I went to get my free shift beer and sit at the bar for a bit. I thought I'd relax for a minute before going home. Nope. When I came out, there was a familiar figure sitting alone at a table in the corner. Petite. Dark hair. When she saw me staring at her, my mouth hanging open, she smiled and raised a delicate hand to knock on the wall.